KGVO Missoula, KGVO FM Frenchtown, AM 1290 and 101.5 FM. Sports Talk tonight and streaming online at Newstalk, KGVO.com.
Welcome one, welcome all to another glorious night of Sports Talk tonight with Gurnz and Bedard, live from the KGVO studios on a beautiful Wednesday evening in the Garden City of Missoula, Montana. Good to be back, Denny.
Yeah, man, I see you still know how to work that microphone.
Well, I don't know what switches and buttons you're pushing, but I know I can say something, and sometimes it sounds all right, and sometimes it sounds like normal.
Yeah, no, it sounds just fine. You sound fine, Gurnz. You sound refreshed. You sound new. You sound rested.
Oh, I tell you what, I need a vacation for my vacation. You
didn't come right back and jump into work, did you? Wasn't there a little bit of a...
I took one day.
Yeah, you need at least one. You need a little debriefing.
One day we went to Alaska on a cruise with basically my entire family.
Yeah.
And the ship was fine. The kids were, they're 6 and 11, so they can't really be left alone. You have to watch them in the pool. So with cocktail in hand, I sat next to that damn pool for probably 6 hours a day.
Yeah. You cleaned up good. It must have been formal dining.
Well, there was a few formal dining deals. Food, I gained probably 10 pounds. That's lie.
That's what they say about cruises.
It was relaxing. It was cool. The scenery was great. Juneau, Sitka, Ketchikan was awesome. I went up and saw the Hubbard Glacier, which you go up this canal, and all of a sudden it ends, and they turn the ship, and you sit there for like an hour, and you watch them calve. The ice breaking off from the edge of it and crashing into the water, and this bright blue, and it was interesting because the ice that was breaking off last week was 400 years old, and little ice chunks floating in the water, and they weren't worried about the hull; they were worried about the propellers because I guess that ice is super hard.
That would probably do the job, something that large.
So it was great. It was great.
Yeah, and she said pictures don't do it justice, but it was handy to be friends with Kelsey Guernsey on Facebook, because I got to see a photo or two now and again.
Well, it's good to be friends with her because I don't really approve any pictures to go for whatever reason, But no, it was great. Got back to Seattle.
Yeah.
Got off the boat 8:30 Sunday morning, drove back. And back to work on Tuesday, and here we go. I'm tired, though. I'm going to go home and have some low-fat dinner and until Christmas. But it was great. But I missed a bunch of the Olympics, Denny.
You did, yeah. A great big thank you to Sports Information Director Eric Tabor from University of Montana. He came in and filled in for you. Brought Grizzly assistant coach Mike Farrader along with him, so we got to talk football a little bit, and Mike did a great job, so... It was fun having him on board. You were gone while they formally announced Shannon Schweyen as the new head coach of University of Montana Lady Griz basketball. And I know you guys are good buds, and we're planning to have her as our guest tonight. Wanted her in here live in the studio, but hey, conflict stuff happens, so she'll be here.
She's probably out recruiting.
Could be.
Who knows?
Could be.
Who knows?
But we will, at the very least, we'll have her on the telephone here pretty quick, so we'll get a chance to visit with Shannon for a while this evening.
Yep. As I said, Denny, we are live from the KGVO studios. Remember, we are streaming worldwide on newstalkkgvo.com. Our phone number is 721-1290. Follow us on Twitter at SportsTalkBack. On the AM side of the dial, 1290. On the FM side, 101.5. We are brought to you in part by Orange Street Food Farm, locally owned and operated grocery store featuring the freshest fruits and vegetables, fresh meats, and a great beer and wine selection. Denny, we got trivia, we got Olympics, we got NFL training camp, we got Grizzly camp. I went to the scrimmage on Monday.
You did.
Actually.
I could not make that. I had to stay in the studios, and I'm thinking, well, let's see. By 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it's 91 degrees. I think that the new scoreboard in Griz Vision, that'll probably put off a pretty good shade on the south end. Maybe the top levels of the west end, I don't know. But that's where everybody will be sitting to watch these kids play ball in 90-degree heat, which you probably can relate to.
It was we were on the west side. It was shaded. It was hard to keep track of players. They ran out of roster sheets by the time I got there, so I was on my phone trying to go back and forth. for the fans out there, the skill position players that Montana has on the offensive side of the ball are going to be something special, and there's going to be a lot of them, and there's going to be a lot of interchangeable parts, I think, especially in the receiver core.
Yeah, well, you know me. I mean, I always try to not get too excited or reserve judgment, just kind of go with it a couple games in and start thinking about this and that. And I'm having the hardest time not getting super excited because every unit, every position, you're going, oh, no weakness there. Whoa, no weakness there. Boy, is that going to be a string? It just, you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself. But I'm not. I've talked to other people that feel the same way. They're just pumped up as they could be.
They
to
are.
Watch this team play.
They are, and we talk about the recruiting class that Coach Stitt brought in this fall. 42 kids in all.
Amazing.
And I'm excited about those kids. Not so much the freshmen. I'm excited about the transfers, the drop-downs that are here. I'm really excited about the redshirt freshmen that are able to play this year, that are coming off their red shirts. Defensively, I think we're going to be flying around. Mm-hmm. I think we're going to be fast. I think we're going to be super athletic, especially on both sides of the ball. They've plugged holes on the D-line. The offensive line, they got significantly better throughout the course of last season. At the start, they weren't that good. With Ben Wire coming back and a little extra depth and more size, I mean, you go from a big question mark last year offensive line-wise to now should be one of the strengths of your team.
Based on getting back to the defensive side of the ball, based on what you know so far, and it's very early, and you and I, when we do our pregame shows, we'll get into more details because we'll know more, but if you had to answer, what do you see as some of the biggest differences between our former defensive coordinator, Ty Gregorak, who moved on to Montana State, and our new defensive coordinator? He's not new to the team. He was here last year, but Jason Seymour, his first year as a defensive coordinator.
You know what, Denny? That's a great question, and I don't know that I can answer.
Yeah, pretty early in the game.
Yeah, for those who are in the know or think that they know, rumor had it that Seymour was basically running that defense the last 4 or 5 games of the season last year. Anyways, I think that Seymour is going to be super aggressive defensively. Mm-hmm. I think there's going to, a lot of people have in the past it was 4 down linemen and 3 backers and 4 defensive backs, and I think even more so now this year coming up, they're going to adjust their defensive players to down and distance to whatever's happening in the game, whether it's, having stand-up defensive ends or, the extra backer or 6 defensive backs or whatever. And I think you're going to see a lot of different people getting a lot of different time out there.
I feel like we're doing our pregame show. This is like practice, but we need the practice, Gurnz. So would you say that in part that's the characteristic of the coach, but is that also in part your defense can afford to do things like that because your offense is probably going to be better than it was last year?
Yeah, I think so. I think they go hand in hand. Offense is better with a good defense and vice versa. I think with more athletic kids on your team that aren't so pigeonholed to a position, that you can take more risks, you can be more aggressive, and let's say you get beat early on you got the speed to come back and cover up and do some things. So, and you know what? If the drives can last, an extra, I don't know, let's say an average drive last year was 7 plays. I don't know if they can stretch it out to 8 or 9. Mm-hmm. That gives the defense,
you bet,
that runs time off the clock. And special teams wise, our kickers, they kick 49, a 48, and like a 47.
My brother called from Utah last week because he always wants to know. He's just such a Grizzly fanatic, and he gets a fair amount of Big Sky news in Ogden, but not a lot of preseason stuff. And he's asking me, well, how are they doing? I said, well, I think they're going to be really, really good. I remember this is like a week ago. I said, I think the one big issue they got right now is the kicking game. They don't seem to have anybody that kicks the ball. All of a sudden, boom, they have a kicking game.
I mean,
and it's like that in every position category.
If I were to make a bet, I would say that Tim Semenza would have the, no pun intended, leg up on the competition. He made the 47 and the 49, and the other kid made the 48, but the 48 one kind of squeaked over, and the 47 and 49 it kind of popped off the foot and had a little bit of distance on it. Yeah. So if I'm, and I don't know anything about kickoffs either because I haven't seen any of those, and that kind of, well, I guess it doesn't really matter because the punter can do that. So, what have you, and the punter looked good as well. Had some booming, booming kicks, but
terrific. So very exciting. Hard to believe we kick it off 2 weeks from Saturday, I believe. Sounds about right.
Yeah, and it's already here. Hey, we got some fantasy football coming up too, Denny. Just a little segue there.
Yeah. You and I are going to miss part of the draft. You do know that.
Oh, that's right. It's on Wednesday.
Yes.
Well, I'm sure that Jennifer is just grinning.
My special envoy will probably handle the first few rounds before I can get there.
Well, that's okay.
You're going to have to do the same thing unless you welch, unless you sneak
I already
out
feel
on me.
sick. My throat. Hey, you know what, Denny? Maybe we can carpool.
Yeah.
Or maybe we'll just go to the Paradise Falls and have an adult beverage and let them do the draft because the teams might turn out better if we just don't stay involved.
I suppose we could pre-record this show and pretend to be live. I don't know. We'll make it work.
Denny, I think you got a little bit of trivia burning a hole in your pocket over there.
Trivia time, Gurnz. If you know the answer to this week's trivia question, 721-1290. We would love to hear from you. We're bumping it up a couple minutes early because we're expecting Coach Schweyen to be on the phone with us pretty quick. So let's get that taken care of. It's brought to you, as always, by Fuddruckers, world's greatest hamburgers. Whatever you order off that menu, you top it yourself. The burgers, the bison, the elk, the chicken, whatever, the fish. You order it, they call out your name, you go fix it up just right. By the way, you can take Fuds with you, Fuds to go for those barbecues and tailgate parties and all of that. They'll supply the ground beef with that special Fuddrucker seasoning. Then you just cook it up, wherever you are, you cook it up. They'll provide you the buns and all the toppings you need, so ask about that at Fuddruckers on North Reserve. $10 gift certificate. Also, we'll send a couple more people to a Missoula Osprey baseball game. This is for next weekend, August 26th. It's a Friday night game. 2 reserve seat tickets to Missoula Osprey baseball. Late summer baseball out there, beautiful nights. So if you know the answer, 721-1290. One of the, we started to talk about this a little bit. We haven't gotten very far, but we got a few weeks to go. One of the many new players on the University of Montana football roster that is making a big impression is true freshman receiver Samuel Akim from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Not a lot of Oklahoma connections to Grizzly football. One fans may remember was a drop-down transfer lineman from the University of Oklahoma. In 2007 was that A, Charles Burton, B, John Oprud, or C, J.D. Quinn. Not a lot of Oklahoma connections over the years, but we do have one from about 9 years ago. Transfer lineman, University of Oklahoma, was that A, Charles Burton, B, John Oprud, or C, J.D. Quinn. Gurnz, the number to call, 721-1290. I'm waiting.
I like it, Denny, and the answer to your question, he was an ornery SOB.
Yeah, had a little baggage.
He did, but played good here, and somebody will get that answer. Hey, we're going to take a quick break. We have Shannon Schweyen here on the phone, hopefully, when we come back. And see you guys in a couple minutes. Sports Talk tonight, Gurnz and Bedard.
Now back to Missoula's Sports Talk tonight on KGVO.
Missoula Sports.
Every second of every day.
We're back. Sports Talk tonight with Gurnz and Bedard, brought to you in part by Grizzly Liquor, located downtown next to the Iron Horse. Big Sky, big selection, and online at grizzlyliquor.com. Denny, do you have a winner?
I do. It is Dave Belay of Missoula. Dave, how are you anyway?
Well.
Good. How the heck did you find Sports Talk tonight? Lose a bet or you're being
punished?
I
listen to you guys fairly often.
All right. You hear that, Gurnz?
Yeah, it's awesome.
He listens to me fairly often, and you get in the way once in a while.
Hey, you're listener number 23, Dave. Thank you.
Beautiful. We appreciate that. Yeah, Dave Belay is a good guy. Hey, a lot of new players at UM, including Samuel Akim, an incredible wide receiver freshman. They are talking. We talked about this last week, Gurnz, when Mike Farrader was in here, assistant coach Farrader, talking about they had to special order gloves.
Oh, size 4X.
Yeah. So let's see. I've got to do this real quick. And we'll get to Dave. All right, there we go. We'll get to that real quick. Anyway, he's from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Not a lot of Oklahoma connections to Grizzly football, but one from back in 07, a lineman, a drop-down transfer from the University of Oklahoma. Was that A, Charles Burton, B, John Oprud, or C, J.D. Quinn? What do you think, Dave?
C, J.D. Quinn.
Offensive lineman, as Gurnz said, ornery. Ornery. He was actually from Texas. He was a Texas kid, but he attended the University of Oklahoma, and he got dismissed from that team. Reportedly, it was one of those deals where he got paid for work that he didn't do at a car dealership, I believe is how the story went.
Oh, those stringent NCAA bylaws.
Yeah, but after so he transferred. After 2 years with the Griz, JD did sign a free agent contract with the Miami Dolphins, but got cut in training camp. But he was first team All Big Sky his first year here, second team All Big Sky his second year here. So Mr. Ornery done good for the Griz.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. J.D. Quinn, the answer we're looking for. Good job, Dave. We really appreciate you listening, and I will get your prize package mailed out to you.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right, thank you, buddy. Dave Belay, our latest winner. And just taking a wild guess there.
Is this Shannon?
Well, hello.
What the hell? Well, hello.
Well, hello.
What the heck
hello.
was that, anyway?
Holy cow!
There's something new on the coaching change right there.
Yeah.
A pleasant greeting like that. Wow.
Are we talking to the new head coach for the Lady Griz basketball
You are.
team?
Yeah.
Ever in your, Shannon? Congratulations, first of all.
Well, thank you.
Nobody deserves it more than you. Did you ever think? I'm sure in the back of your mind that might have been a goal, but now that it's come true, is it just kind of surreal?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's been a whirlwind of a couple weeks, and just being in there in the offices and everything else. I mean, it just doesn't seem right without Robin in there. And Travis asked me the other day. He said, "How was your first day in the office?" And I said, "I didn't even sit in a chair." And he goes, "Well, it took me about midway through conference when I finally asked myself one day, am I really the head coach?" Yeah. And I'm like, "Well, I think it'll take me till the end of conference."
What did you do?
Feeling like that.
What did you do? Sit in the chair in front of the desk, or just kind of walk?
I just didn't sit in it. It just, first of all, it reclined way too far back. Now I know why Rob always wanted to take a nap in there, because the thing doesn't even sit upright. Yeah.
Oh, so tell us, Shannon, was this a big surprise? That Robin stepped down. Did you have an inkling, and he talked about it with you, and just tell us kind of when you found out that he actually was retiring, what was the process to get hired as the new coach?
Yeah, well, he had visited with us after the season ended that he wasn't sure if he was going to do it again, and he just kind of needed some time to see if he was going to get re-energized, and he didn't feel like that was happening, and a few things had to fall into place before he would officially announce. And so, that was basically kind of, we knew it was a probability, and, he just finally made the decision at the end of July, and, and then started going through the process of trying to do all the paperwork and notifying all the girls and all the things that kind of, go into the end of it, which is difficult to handle, because a few people find out, and then a few more find out, and then, it turns into, big news here, and he's trying to make sure the girls knew first. And so it was a tough thing to handle. But, hopefully he's going to be happy with his retirement and, enjoy his family and friends and be good with it.
It is so typical of Rob, and you probably would have been thrilled if he'd been there, but at your press conference to officially announce your hiring last Thursday, he was conspicuous by his absence, and that's just Rob, isn't it, Shannon? I mean, in the back of his mind, he's somehow thinking that this might take away from your glory or steal your thunder, which it would, I'm sure you'd agree, would not have done. But that's just kind of the guy he is, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. He's always looking out for everybody's well-being and trying to make sure everybody's taken care of and everything. So, yep, that's definitely him.
Can you talk a little bit about the interview process when Kent Haslam introduced you? They only interviewed one person, that being you, but they did it in a way as if you were competing for that job, because they they wanted to make sure that you were sincere and really wanted this, and so they kind of, not necessarily jump through the hoops, but they made you work for it a little bit. What was that process like?
I really enjoyed it. I actually, in all the years I'd been at Montana, I hadn't ever officially gone through an interview process at another school. And I remember Jim O'Day, when he was AD, had encouraged me to interview for a couple jobs when people had inquired and stuff, and I never did. I really enjoyed the process. I mean, it was fun just kind of, talking about your vision and your, the way you'd like to see things go down, and not that there was a lot wrong here at Montana by any means, but it was kind of fun to sit back and have to reflect on where you think you'd like to take a program, or what you'd like to do and the way you'd like to do it. And I really enjoyed doing it. It was good for me professionally, I think, and I kind of made me regret not ever experiencing something like that before. So.
You're listening to Sports Talk Tonight with Gurnz and Bedard. We have Shannon Schweyen, the former Shannon Kate, new head coach for the University of Montana Lady Grizzlies, on the line with us. And Shannon, Coach Selvig means and has meant everything to the Lady Griz. It's funny because we always talk about when people get head coaching jobs, you take what you've learned from your other coaches and kind of mold it together and make it your own. You only really had one, and you've only really been around one. What are you going to take with you from what Robin did, and what is your vision for the program?
Yeah. Well, I mean, so much of what we did, I think, was successful here. Recruiting Montana kids for the most part, supplementing that with what we didn't get. Really, I think one of Rob's biggest strengths was always running things that fit our personnel. We changed from year to year. Years we had Holly Tyler, we did things a lot differently than, when we had Mandy and Sonia and things like that. And, I felt like he really was a master at that, as, playing to what, the cards he was dealt and stuff. And so I hope that I can, learn from that and continue to do that. I think we have a great team coming back. I'm really excited about the crew we have, and we have a lot of some very talented older kids and then some good young kids as well. There's lots of things, over the years. I think, Rob will always rub off on any Lady Griz that played for him, his sayings, his, classic lines that he had and things like that. But there's always things, watching other teams on video, or, listening to, even watching basketball on TV, you just pick up little things that you think, oh, that's kind of an interesting idea or concept or whatever. And, so there'll be some things that, I don't know, we'll experiment with and everything else. But I think, just time will tell how things will go for me. I don't really anticipate making, huge changes with this group, because I want them to be comfortable in their, senior season and everything. And so I think, it'll just be a matter of time before start to see anything drastic happening.
Shannon, I think when Robin held his press conference to officially announce his retirement, you were out on the recruiting trail.
Yeah.
Have you? What are some of the primary differences as far as recruiting goes? You've been doing this as an assistant for 20-some years, but are you starting to get a sense of what is different as far as the recruiting process between head coach and assistant coach? Is there a lot of difference?
No, not really. I mean, we did a lot of the recruiting, and then Rob would, when the kids came to campus and, did their official visits, he was the closer on a lot of that stuff, I mean, we did a lot of the groundwork and getting to know the kids before they came and everything. So, hopefully I'll have somebody helping me with that and doing that for me, and then, when they come to campus, this is a great place to sell, I mean, the University of Montana is an amazing place for a female basketball player. You have amazing crowds. Not very many places in the country, let alone the West Coast, have what we have. And, on top of that, we've just won a lot of championships and winning tradition and lots of things going for us. So I don't feel like it's, a tough sell. So I'm excited to get out and finish up, our class for this next group and, get on to the future for Lady Griz.
You're listening to Sports Talk Tonight. Head coach for the Lady Griz, the new head coach, Shannon Schweyen, on the line with us. And Shannon, how I know your family a little bit, know Brian, your husband, quite well. Unfortunately, no. How'd they all take it? I mean, were they super excited? Was it even a second of doubt?
There had to have been a team meeting, and all that.
because I'm assuming one of the reasons why you got hired is because your girls are fairly athletic and they are coming up to the college. No, how'd they feel about everything, Shan?
They're excited. Like I said in the press conference, as I was thinking about it, looking back, my kids have grown up here at U of M, and literally from the days they were born till now, and roam the hallways, spend all their time in the gym, coming to the games, all going to the track meets, the whole deal. So they've really known no other, and so I feel like they have just a sense of pride in the university that most teenage kids don't. They're excited for the opportunity, and I'm hoping that being a Lady Griz is something that they would aspire to, and everything else, and we'll see what happens. But Brian's excited. He knows how long I've been here, and he's excited for me to have a chance to put my own stamp on things, and see what happens.
You and Brian aren't going to battle over which sport they go for, are you?
No, any scholarship's good with me. With 3 of them, I'm like 3 weddings, 3 scholarships, whatever. Elope, do what you got to do. But no, they haven't really decided what sport is for them yet, and that's fine.
I'm glad Gurnz brought that up, though. If you don't mind, Shannon, we got a couple minutes before our first break, but if you wouldn't mind introducing the starting lineup, talk about your daughters, their names, their ages, and what sports do you kind of see them? At least what do they seem most interested in now?
Right. Well, Jordan is a junior this year at Sentinel, and she's kind of decided that basketball is going to probably be her sport. She really we went out this summer and played on an AAU team and traveled around, and they had a good summer doing that. And then Shelby is a sophomore this year at Sentinel, and she really big into track. That may be her favorite sport, but she loves basketball when she's in it, and volleyball, of course. They had a great season in volleyball last year, playing in the state championship, losing to Bozeman. But she loves basketball as well, and really had a lot of fun this summer playing with a bunch of Montana girls and getting out there. And then Sheridan is my youngest, and she's a freshman. And I think she might lean a little bit towards volleyball. But she played with that group this summer due to a few kids not making the team, and had a lot of fun and kind of got her eyes opened, being down in California and getting to play against a lot of different teams. But it was a good experience for, that Montana group and everything. But, yeah, they're just enjoying high school, and, Sentinel's been a great fit for them, and things have been going well.
Hey, Shannon, can you got a couple more minutes for us? We take a quick break and come back to you?
Sure.
Awesome. We're talking to Shannon Schweyen, new head coach for the Lady Griz basketball team, and we'll continue our conversation when we come back right after this on Sports Talk Tonight.
All right.
Sports Talk Tonight, live from the KGVO studio.
Missoula Sports.
We are back. Sports Talk Tonight with Gurnz and Bedard, brought to you in part by Bell McCall Ford. Great selection of new and used cars, trucks, and SUVs. Your low-cost auto dealer for over 100 years, located in downtown Hamilton. And our guest is always brought to you by First Montana Bank, your home for free Centennial checking, plus unlimited cash back every time you use your debit card. Online at firstmontanabank.com. And on the line, back with us, Shannon Schweyen, the new head coach for the Lady Griz, the best all-time player in my mind, in fact, at the University of Montana, Lady Griz, and that is not disputed, by the way, and I'll fight whoever says anything different.
Stop. You're embarrassing her.
Well, that's okay.
Guernsey.
That's okay. Hey, Shannon, you were talking about your daughters and family and stuff, and as they get older and start getting looks from colleges, whether it's University of Montana or heaven forbid Montana State or whatever. Is it tough for you and Brian too, because he's a college coach? How do you get to watch them? Do you get to watch them play? Is it limited? I mean, are there rules? How's that work?
Great question.
Yeah, with your own kids, you can basically go to whatever, even if it's a dead period or, the rules kind of are thrown out the window when it's your own children, so you're allowed to see what you're capable of seeing. The problem is, when are you around to be able to see it? Fortunately, I was able to see literally every volleyball match last season, and I saw, I think maybe half their basketball games. It does give me solace that in the summer I have a chance to literally see them all summer long. And then track season, we got to see a lot of it. Brian missed the state tournament, or the state meet and track because he was at, I think, nationals or regionals or something like that. But I was able to see the state track meet. So, it just kind of, it's a little bit of hit and miss where meets fall and games fall and stuff like that, matching up with, our schedule and stuff like that. So we just try to make as much as we can, and, we've had a lot of great friends in the community help with our kids and help, the old it takes a village type thing, and it's very true. We've had great help and support from everybody.
Well, not only did we have the departure of the head coach for University of Montana Lady Griz basketball, one of the assistants, Trish Deuce, moved into another vocation. So with your hiring, I guess it was kind of left two people down. You've made one replacement hire. Sonia Stoken, of course, is staying on board as one of your assistants, but a brand new one and one to fill. But can you talk a little bit about your brand new assistant coach?
Yeah, Mike Petrino. He most recently was at University of Colorado, and then prior to that was up at University of Wyoming. He was out in Portland at Central Catholic High School, coached boys out there, and he's just very passionate about getting back to Montana. We've been friends for quite a few years now, and he's popped in several times and just expressed the desire to get back here. He's married to Eric and Deb Hayes' daughter, Kelly Hayes, and so they have ties to Missoula, and he's really fired up to work here. He wants to be at a program that is got good values and has good things going on, and I think he's a great recruiter. So I'm really excited to get him here and, get him settled in and get to work. So
I think that's great, Shannon. I read in an article that that was maybe encouraged a little bit to go outside the program and maybe for lack of a better term, some fresh ideas or whatever. And it's kind of similar to what the football program did when they went out and hired Bob Stitt. He kept some Montana people. We still have Montana people on board, but it's always good to get that different perspective of how people do things in other parts of the country.
Yeah, we really are, I don't want to say inbred, but in some ways, like you mentioned earlier, it's the only coach I've ever had, Sonia's ever had. We all played for Rob, and not like there's ever been anything broken here or wrong with the way things have been done, but it will be, I think, nice for the girls to have a little bit of variety and some change in, the drills we do and some, maybe some defenses we do or try or things like that. And, unfortunately, there's not a ton of Lady Griz out there that have a lot of experience coaching, and I felt like with, my group I had, I definitely needed some people who had been at some other places and had some experience, and I wanted to try to surround myself with people that are better than me and have been out there a little bit and tried some new things.
We already talked about that, Shannon. Nobody is better than you. So
yeah, Gurnz and you are so good.
Let's
he's
get that straight.
waiting for you to say the same about him.
Yeah. Okay, Guernsey, I could say the same about you.
Yeah. Let's see.
I'm glad we got that finally out of the way.
Little fresh-eyed freshman hanging with the Lady Griz basketball players.
Guernsey was our guy.
Bowling on Thursday. I used to scrimmage with them in McGill Hall.
Oh, that's so cute.
It was
that's
great.
Sweet. Yeah.
Yep.
That's wonderful.
All of us in Gurnz. Yep.
So it still leaves you one assistant coach to hire, Shannon. And is it in the process of looking for another assistant coach, do you have to sit back and go, all right, well, I've got a coach who is a terrific outside shooter, and I've got a brand new coach tonight, and I'm sorry, I don't know what Mike Petrino's specific skills might be, but do you have to go out and look for an assistant coach that can lend his or herself to a certain part of the scheme of the team? It's obvious in football because there's so many. You got an offensive coordinator, you got a defensive coordinator. A little bit different in basketball because there's not as many of them. But do you have to go out and look for a specific skill set in your next assistant coach?
Well, basically, I had a few people in mind I was anticipating trying to hire, and with it going into August, unfortunately, that just didn't pan out. It was getting too late for them, and their situations with their teams and family and everything else. So I'm hoping to hire somebody for just possibly a year basis, and then open it up next year. That's kind of what I'm looking at doing right now. So more than anything, I just want somebody who's going to help make the transition as easy as possible for the girls, and somebody they'd be comfortable with, and and then next year really, get out there and look for somebody who I think is going to be the best fit for the long haul in the program. I didn't want to just go out and hire somebody to hire and have someone on staff that I wasn't 100% comfortable having, and so I feel like I'll have lots of time in the spring to really look around and get somebody who I feel would be the best fit for helping us.
Well, if you need help with that interview process, Shannon, Denny and I do great with interviews.
Oh, I thought you were going to apply for the job.
Oh,
yeah, me too. I thought, wow.
Well, I heard Shannon Kabanock was thinking about coming back to the mainland.
Post coach, big man.
Except he'd have a bad hamstring the whole time. So
our 5'6" punt returner, is
That's
that
right.
to whom you refer?
Number 81.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. I remember seeing that.
I did run into Darren England yesterday. I should have asked him.
Oh, there you go. There's a big person coach.
Yeah. The other part of it. What are you most looking forward to? And there's probably a multitude of answers to this. But what are some of the things you are looking forward to as the head coach, the Lady Griz?
Oh, I think just the relationships with the girls and the team, and experiencing the ups and downs of all the the process of being together and everything, and going through a season together. That's really kind of what ends up sticking with you in the end, and you watch them go on and get married and have kids and get jobs and be people out in the community and everything else, and I'm excited about that. I'm excited for this group. I feel like at least I know them and know their personalities, their attributes, what they can do on and off the court. So I do feel like that's going to be a little bit easier versus somebody completely new coming in and trying to implement a bunch of new stuff, But I don't know, there's just a lot of things I'm excited about the more I sit back and think about it. A couple of them have started to dwindle back into town, and they popped into the office, and they're excited to get going and just see what the year brings. We're going to be really young. We have 11 of our 15 are freshmen or sophomores, and really Sierra Anderson's the only one that has any experience at the 1-2, and Kaylee started at 3, but she played a lot of 4 last year. So we're very inexperienced at the perimeter. So we have a lot of kids who are going to have to adjust quickly and grow up quickly, and it'll be interesting to see how they come together.
You talk a lot about the family atmosphere created by the coaching staff and the players for the Lady Griz, but the fan base is like that too. I can imagine that the congratulatory calls and whatnot have been pretty overwhelming the last week.
Yeah, it has. My phone has just it's been crazy how much people just send messages, and it's so easy to, send something out on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, and I wasn't much of a Twitter person before, but I'm being told I need to get after it. So, in fact, the reporters brought it up. They go, "We noticed you hadn't tweeted something in over a year." So apparently that's an area I need to improve on. But it's really neat to see. I mean, everybody, of course, misses Rob and is gonna, miss watching him, and he did just an amazing job. But in the same respect, I think people are excited about the new possibility of some new things going on, and just seeing somebody new there. And I've just gotten a lot of really positive response from the community.
You mentioned in your press conference last week that one window of opportunity you'd like to open up and explore a little bit is different areas, different pockets of recruiting, and maybe a little bit of a different approach to recruiting. Well,
I think Montana will always be, our first and foremost. We definitely want to win with the Montana kids. I actually out recruiting this summer, sat next to a guy from South Dakota, and they won the WNIT last year, and I was asking him, I was like, what was the difference for you guys? Because I'd seen them on video, and they were a very comparable team in the fact that they had a lot of players kind of like ours. And he said, we ended up getting one girl from Australia who was MVP of our league, made the entire difference in our season. She was really what did it for us, And he just kind of talked to me a little bit about the process of, recruiting overseas a little bit, and, just some ideas like that. And I don't know if that's something we'll pursue or not, but there's definitely been some programs who, I would never want to make that be a mainstay, but, if you could find one great player to add on to the kids that you have, because oftentimes, players like that, if they were here, you're competing against everybody around to try to get them, and, it's tough sometimes to beat out some of those bigger schools. And so that's just an area that, it's a possibility down the road. We don't have it. We're not losing a lot in these next 2 years. We lose 4 players in 2 years. So, but then that following year we have a really big class. So, but then again, Montana's got a lot of great, kids coming up. There's a lot of talent in the state, and, it'd be awesome to be able to, get the job done with that.
I assume in the interview process, when you interviewed for the job, one of the questions that would ask, probably one of the very first questions, is you're going to retain the public address announcer, aren't you?
Oh, yes, for sure, without a doubt.
Yeah, I figured that was on page 1 somewhere. But
I think it was.
The dulcet tones of Denny J. Bedard.
Of course. Yeah, and we need to get Gurnz in on, I'm not
I have to deal with
shot clock or something like that. Maybe.
No. Every Wednesday and all football season, I get plenty. No, thank you. I got plenty of Gurnz.
Yeah.
I kind of look like Adam Sandler, so I could be the water boy.
Yeah. Rob Valance could be the mumbler.
Oh, yeah. H2. No, he does a pretty good job yelling.
Yeah.
But anyways, hey Shannon, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you guys.
Extremely proud of you, and you deserve everything that's coming your way.
Well, thank you.
Congratulations, Shannon.
Appreciate it.
And
you guys have a great night.
We'll talk to you. We'll talk to you before the season.
I hope so.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right,
okay.
Shannon. Take care.
Have a good night. Go Griz.
Bye, Shannon.
Bye.
Go Griz.
That was Shannon Schweyen, the new head basketball coach for your Montana Lady Griz basketball. And when we come back, we've got some Griz in the NFL. We've got NFL camp. We got some Olympics to talk about. We got the steal. We got the stupid. And that's not Denny and Gurnz, by the way. Sports Talk tonight. Gurnz and Bedard.
It could be. I don't know.
Now back to Missoula's Sports Talk tonight on KGVO.
Missoula Sports.
Every second of every day.
We are back. Sports Talk tonight, brought to you in part by Jerry Wessel's Tire Center. The locally owned Les Schwab Tire Center provides the best tire value promise. Visit them online at jerrywesselstirecenter.com. And by CHS Mountain West Co-op, Western Montana's source for Cynic's fuel, feed, fertilizer, clothing, and tack for over 75 years. Wrangler Days going on all this week. Thanks to Shannon Kate, new head coach for the Montana Lady Griz basketball program. She, of course, is brought to you, as always, by First Montana Bank.
What did she say? How many freshmen and sophomores on that?
11 out of 15.
Wow.
Yes. Yes.
Well, they'll need to find some real good young talent.
Yes. What do you got for me, Denny?
Well, I got it's what you've got for me, my friend.
Yeah.
The Steal of the Week. And that's brought to you by True North Steel, Western Montana's industry leader in quality, manufactured, and fabricated Steel products. Gurnz, Steel of the Week.
Your Steel of the Week is one of the reasons why I'm tired today, because I was up quite late last night.
I see.
Watching called Midnight Madness, Olympic beach volleyball in Copacabana. Don't let the name fool you. It's not a very nice place. Right. But if you weren't aware, Carrie Walsh Jennings now in her fourth Olympics had won 3 medals previously, golds. Beach volleyball, was undefeated in Olympic play, 26-0. I think she was 52-2 in sets. In fact, 52-2. She's now 52-4 in set losses, and actually she lost her first match of her Olympic volleyball career. Her and her partner April Ross, they lost to the Brazilians in 2 sets, 22-20, 21-18. It was a hard fought. I mean, it's in Brazil. The crowd's just it was amazing, and not so much that the Brazilians stole the victory, because they played really well, but they stole the undefeated all-time Olympic record of Carrie Walsh Jennings. The Americans will be playing the other Brazilian team for the bronze medal, but that is my Steel of the Week by the Brazilian beach volleyball squad.
And that's brought to you by True North Steel, Western Montana's industry leader in quality manufactured and fabricated steel products.
Well, and let's go right back to the Olympics for the stupid athlete or athletes of the week. In a shocker, and this could have been the Steel of the Week also, the U.S. Women's team lost in a shootout to, who'd they lose to? Oh, goodness. I can't even remember.
Soccer team you're talking about?
Sweden. They lost in a shootout. The goalie, Hope Solo, the much maligned, loudmouth, troublemaker, prima donna, whatever you want to call her. They interviewed her after the game. She's the goalie, and her quote was, "We lost to a bunch of cowards."
Yeah.
Okay. Let's. Let's. And as the Sweden coach said, well, I don't care if we're cowards. We still won. Which I thought was great. One of the stupid athletes of the week. The other one, the potential stupid athlete of the week, Ryan Lochte, Olympic swimmer, gold medal winner, won numerous medals. If you've all heard, but they were leaving Club France or whatever, 3 a.m. They get in a cab. They're pulled over by armed gunmen masquerading as police. He had the gun pressed up. They stole his wallet, blah, blah, blah. Well, comes to find out that the Brazilian authorities didn't want Ryan Lochte to leave the country today because there are some questions about his story. Lochte is in America now, but apparently they've got Lochte and the other guy that were whatever going through the metal detector to get back into their building at 4 a.m. as they're putting their wallets in the little tin that they pass through the metal detector. Mm-hmm. So, yes. So there is the question.
That just got stolen, Kyle said.
Yeah, that just got stolen. So there's some interesting. Not the kind of publicity you want. Pretty stupid for being out at 3 a.m, number one, in a place where you've been warned about. Yeah. But anyways, hey, Grizzly players in the NFL.
Big news this week. Yeah.
Croy Bierman, one of the most sought after free agents left out there.
Another Bill
signs a contract with the Buffalo Bills, joining Colt Anderson and Dan Carpenter. I believe they all played together at one time, crossed over somehow.
Let's see.
They had to have.
They would have had to.
Yeah, guarantee you. But good thing for the Bills because they have lost like 2 linebackers. A defensive lineman got suspended. I mean, Bierman's gonna get some time, and they're gonna put him an outside linebacker, so he's gonna get a chance to rush the passer a little bit more and make some plays, and that's the 12th player on an NFL roster for the Griz.
And he did that some in Atlanta. I mean, I can't imagine that's going to be an alien being for him.
Oh,
he
no.
should be able to adjust to that well.
No, and he's probably going to be because he's always been an undersized defensive end anyways. In about the 275-ish range,
right.
Lose 10 pounds, get a little quickness back, and you're going to see him make some plays. And good job for Croy Bierman.
Yeah, very happy for Croy.
Very happy. I'm just very happy in general, Denny.
Mm-hmm.
What a great interview with Shannon.
Yeah, Shannon's a great interview, and you're excited because football season's right around the corner. We will, of course, once again this year, as far as we know, we think we signed contracts, and we think we doctored them to our liking, and so we near as we can tell, we will be doing the Grizzly football tailgate show, the 2-hour pregame show prior to. My understanding that Riley Corcoran will be joining us for a segment. If you haven't met the great guy,
Mick O'Lean's new best friend, I hear.
Yeah, they had a little lunch week before last, something like that. But Riley will be for home games. He'll be down on the field or down in the tailgate area with us for a few minutes, so folks will get a chance to meet him. And then when they're on the road, we'll just talk to him up in the booth. So
and you know what's great is we've got new management over at Learfield Sports, and Nick Garner did one heck of a job over there. He took a position, and now we've got Justin Barnes, who brings energy and new stuff. We've got a new voice of the Grizzly. Looking forward to football, Denny, and looking forward to seeing you next week.
You betcha, bud. You got it.
Sports Talk Tonight, Gurnz and Bedard.